You know how Iran has the red flag, the death flag that they used to wave? And then they would do like a very restrained retaliatory strike that they agreed to ahead of time. This is literally Zelensky saying we'll have a referendum on Crimea 15 years down the line. The one who once spoke of regime change and the fragmentation of Iran now hopes that someone in Iran will engage in dialogue with him, though this too is merely an attempt at deception. Like they killed babies to stop overpopulation. Name every Chinese period. You don't want to live in China because they didn't allow you to hug panda? That's true. That was a big blow to my confidence in China. Are you pro or anti-Israel Epstein? Pro-Israel Epstein, my goat. The good Israel Epstein. Member of the CPC. Israel's Channel 12 has now leaked what it claims is a U.S. 15-point document to end the war with Iran. Okay? We're getting back to situation monitoring. The reported mechanism is a 1-month ceasefire during which there will be negotiations over these terms. That alone is likely a non-starter for Tehran. Iran has been clear that it does not want another temporary pause that allows the U.S. and Israel to rearm. We'll look at the details in a second. Rebuild and return to the fight as has already happened before. Are you averse to Europe because of Islamophobia? Buddy, if I'm moving away from America, why would I go to a vassal, an American vassal? If I'm escaping America in the unlikely scenario that I'm like going to prison or something, like where fascism is completely taken over and it's like, it's accelerating. Why the would I go to the country that's like a fleshlight for the United States of America? Europe. Okay. Yeah. Let me go flee to a vassal so I can get destroyed. Same with Australia. Iran has been clear that it does not want another temporary pause that allows the U.S. and Israel to rearm, rebuild, and return to the fight. As has already happened before, it is seeking a permanent settlement that allows it come out of economic isolation. Then there are the terms themselves. Much of this reads like a familiar maximalist wish list. No enrichment on Iranian soil, dismantling core nuclear infrastructure, abandoning regional alliance network. In other words, demands that Iran has consistently rejected before the war, and likely even more so now, given the leverage it believes it has gained. At the same time, there is a notable U.S. offer, the reported offer of full sanctions relief, including the removal of snapback threats. That suggests Washington may be signaling openness to a broader strategic trade-off. Oh my God. So there may be an outline of something workable here. But as an opening bid, much of this still looks fundamentally misaligned with what Iran would accept, and therefore unlikely to get serious traction in Tehran without significant revision. Oh my God. Oh my God. I mean, if this isn't simply holding space and time as America, draws up what remains of its sources, what remains of its forces, and continues to build up military troop presence so they can try and idiotically invade Iranian soil with no real logistical plan to do so, mind you. This is literally a bigger relief for the Iranian economy than what the Obama deal could have ever accomplished. This would mean that we treat Iran as a sovereign nation state, as an equal partner in the global oil trade. I mean, that's crazy. Biggest fell-off award for the anti-IR diaspora. Islamic Republic stays in place, led by the RGC, and the sanctions are taken away, but they'll still love Trump law. I mean, this is unironically something that is necessary. And Iran sacrificed a great deal to accomplish this, but they accomplished it through war. A war that they did not choose to have, but a war that they seemingly will end. I just don't think that Israel would ever allow this to happen, you know? Removal of all sanctions on Iran, U.S. assistance in advancing and developing a civilian nuclear project, energy generation, removal of the threat of sanctions being reimposed. Iran's nuclear program is frozen under a defined framework, enriched uranium to remain, but under supervision and agreed limits. Missile program to be addressed at a later stage with limits. See, like this is, oh my God, they're doing oh my God, this is a white flag, dude. You know how Iran has the red flag, the death flag that they used to wave? And then they would do like a very restrained retaliatory strike that they agreed to ahead of time. This is literally Zelensky saying we'll have a referendum on Crimea 15 years down the line. Oh my God. Use of nuclear programs restricted to civilian defensive purposes only. Development of existing nuclear capabilities halted. No further expansion of enrichment capabilities. No production of weapons-grade nuclear material on Iranian soil. All enriched material to be handed over to the International Atomic Energy Agency within an agreed timeline. Natanz, Isfahan, and Fordow to be taken out of use, destroyed. International monitoring and verification mechanisms enforced. Gradual implementation tied to compliance. Additional regional security understandings between the parties. Dude, are you implying Trump broke something and is going to put back together in a worse way and will inevitably say, look, I solved another war? From an American chauvinist perspective, yes. But from a global perspective, this is a tremendous thing. Okay? I've been very clear on this. I have said this. Okay? Sanctions relief was a must. How close to JCPOA is this? This is literally worse than the JCPOA for American from the, I mean, if this happens at all, and if this isn't just like a silly little fake out, and Israel will never allow this to happen regardless, but this is literally worse than the JCPOA. This is, from the American perspective, JCPOA did not offer this much. I guess one of the major differences would be, this is a better deal than what Iran was offered pre-war, which did not include sanctions relief. The Iranians are still going to say no. They would accept dismantling of their nuclear program for sanctions relief, but not an end to support the proxies or the missiles program, which is precisely the reason why even the missiles program, for the record, that was a key part of this, is not even being discussed now. They're just saying we'll do a framework for a deal in the future. Like, if we were to take this sincerely, okay, if we were to look at this as like a sincere, if this was like America genuinely saying, here, let's do this, please. This is nothing short of America coming on its hands and knees. Donald Trump literally getting on his hands and knees and begging Iran. Holy, I mean, are you kidding me? I don't really see how Iran can win this war if it doesn't get sanctions relief, and I don't really see how it can get sanctions relief if it doesn't concede on at least 2 or 3 nuclear proxies missiles. There's obviously the whole, if they survive, they win thing, but like, of course, some people will call this copium or whatever. We can quibble about definitions, but I'm not sure how Saddam 91 was considered a win for Saddam. Iranian people's quality of life matters, considering the Iranian state is responsible for them and them only, is a genuine question people should answer. This shit isn't a pissing contest. There actually needs to be a theory of victory that ends with a higher quality of life for Iranians. Otherwise, we get protests and Israeli lawn mowing again a few months down the road. The initial U.S. offer is similar to what you imagine. Sanctions relief in exchange for cutting off the proxies, limiting the missiles, and ending the nuclear program. No, I think that's a more conservative read on this than what the deal is actually saying. What this deal is literally like the JCPOA, but worse for America. Okay? Bro, they're just proposing this on the chance that Iran rejects it. They'll accuse them of being the warmongers. It doesn't matter. This is not... Iran holds all the cards. It's unbelievable, dude. It's unbelievable. I cannot believe it. This, like... Because remember, Iran's conditions were set ahead of time. America retreating from the region. Okay, no more military bases. America decoupling from Israel, which, by the way, that's a given if there's any deal making to be, if there's any deal making to take place. So much so that this was something that I think a lot of people didn't pay attention to, but Iran wanted to cut out Israel from the conversation so much that they literally said no to Russia negotiating with the United States. Many of you still are operating under the weird belief that Russia is actually an anti-Zionist country, not realizing that Vladimir Putin is a massive Zionist. Iran literally told Russia to fuck off. And their statement was, because Russia was like, oh, we'll deal with Iran. Like, we'll get to the table. We'll create we'll create a negotiations plan for Iran. And Iran literally said, no, we don't want Israel to be involved. That's very important. They didn't just say no to Russia. We want to do it our way with sovereignty and dignity. They said no to Russia. We don't want Israel's involvement in this. As in, As in, they understand Russian partners to not be on the Iranian side, but on the Israeli side. Okay? Isn't like Russia agnostic about Israel? No. Absolutely not. So, Russian is the third most spoken language in Israel. It's Hebrew, Arabic, and then Russian. Vladimir Putin has literally said that he sees Israel as another Russian country. Okay? Numerous people from the USSR, both during the USSR and also certainly after the dissolution of the USSR, moved to Israel. Again, I'm going to repeat it one more time. Russian is the third most spoken language in the state of Israel, the fake state of Israel. Okay? Numerous Russian oligarchs use Israeli passports as an entry point into the global markets. While the USSR itself was formative in the development of the Zionist entity, arming the Zionist brigades, thinking that the nation that would form after would be one that would be Soviet aligned. They very quickly realized that that wasn't the case. But Vladimir Putin has always been super, super pro-Israel. Israel is in its hoe phase. Worth saying that it's not just people pretending for financial gain. There are a ton of Jews in the former Soviet Union, the Pale of the Settlement. Plus, the Soviets were able to evacuate more Jews than, say, Poland. Yeah, but it's not even about Judaism, especially considering that many of the Israeli Russians are not even Jews. And I mean literally, like not even through like matrilineal. They have no heritage to Judaism, no ethnic trace of Judaism whatsoever. They're just Israeli citizens now. This was done in the aftermath of the dissolution of the USSR, specifically to increase the Ashkenazi or the white population in Israel as well. It was a mutually beneficial relationship, if you want to think about it like that. Anyway, so thrilled with Syria. I mean, there's a lot of, like Russia still has regional ambitions and Russia still is anti-America, right, as it stands. So obviously the initiatives in Syria were a part of Russia's ambitions. But I wouldn't go so far as to say that like Russia and Israel were duking it out in Syria in the way that many people... I would say that Hezbollah and Iranian forces were certainly duking it out in Syria against Western interests. And to a certain degree, Russia was aiding. Obviously, virtually the entirety of the Syrian anti-air defense systems were Russian, but there were many restrictions against Israeli fighter jets, for example, restrictions imposed by Russia on the Syrian military in the same exact way that, for example, America imposed restrictions on Ukraine and their offensive capabilities with the weapons that we have given to Ukraine, you know, not allowing them to strike on Russian soil, things of that nature. CNN, Iran tells U.S. it will not negotiate with Witkoff or Kushner, but only J.D. Vance. Oh my God, shut the fuck up. No, there is no shot. No, come on, dude. Please tell me these fucking Iranian boomers don't think J.D. Vance is actually anti-war. Jesus Christ, no shot. I believe it. I literally fucking believe it. I believe that they are such boomers that they legitimately see the reports of J.D. Vance like being noticeably absent from the conversation and think like, oh, he must be like actually anti-war. I hope they're just fucking trolling. God, oh God, the Ummah boomers. They literally, it takes nothing. It takes nothing for Muslim unks, Shia, Sunni, doesn't matter. It takes such little for a white man for them to go, oh my God, this guy will save us. I mean, clearly, it's just like, I don't think that's it. I think they're trying to pull an insubordinate power play. They know they have the upper hand. They're playing with their food now. I mean, I get why they would say no to Witkoff and Kushner. Witkoff and Kushner has directly fucked them over. There's a term for it. in Israeli intelligence, where someone is not like directly, I think it's called a helper, right? Murtaza Hussein wrote about this, where people like Witkoff and Kushner are seen as helpers, right? They're not directly under the payroll of the Israeli government, but they're sympathizers, right? Sayayim, I think so. This is unk on unk shit talking. Why are you believing CNN on this? It's true, I shouldn't. Iran are Democrat agents trying to torpedo Vance's presidential run. They're trying to exert their material sovereignty over the U.S. This will legitimize Vance in the eyes of the public, playing to both Trump and Vance's ego. New senior Iranian official Jalili accused the U.S. of deception amid talk of talks. Saeed Jalili, the supreme leader's representative, the Supreme National Security Council, and a member of Iran's Expediency Discernment Council, criticized the U.S. calls for dialogue, saying Washington previously pushed for regime change and Iran's fragmentation. Bro, they activated the 82nd, and they're bringing 2 amphibious assault ships. These are the break glass and emergency forces. They're going to invade. That's what I think, too. I don't think they would be moving assets like this if they weren't invested in invading. I think they're stupid enough. I think America and Israel, Israel will not be sending troops. Sorry, my mistake. For a second, I forgot. My mistake. America is going to be sending troops for Israel. Israel will not be sending troops, but America might be dumb enough to actually send troops to Iran and try to invade Iran militarily, which is incredibly fucking stupid. A bit anti-Semitic to send Israeli troops. True. My mistake. Iranian representatives have left the Trump administration know it does not want to negotiate with Witkoff and Kushner and would prefer to engage with Vice President J.D. Vance, according to 2 regional sources. Listen, all I'm going to say is this. Judging by what I know of these guys in the Iranian leadership, I can totally see them being boomer-brained and assuming that J.D. Vance's silence is seen as like genuine opposition to the American and Israeli initiatives, which it's not. He is he's better at reading the room, but that doesn't mean that he's gonna like actually take a more favorable position. But who knows? I don't trust CNN sources on the Iranian side. I trust drop site sources on the Iranian side. Interesting timing for this. Effective April 20th, 2026, the U.S. Army is increasing the maximum enlistment age from 34 to 32 and eliminating waiver requirements for single conviction of possession of marijuana. Hell yeah. Now all those guys that were like putting on, those like fat veterans that were putting on their fucking old gear to be like, oh, I can fucking join the war, can go and join. Wait, 42. Wait, hold on. Wait. No. Oh, hold on now. Oh no. Okay. Chatter asked me earlier, what would it take for you to move to China? Who knows? Me and my dad going to war, baby. Hope you like the lobster news, boy. Chat meetup in Tehran. Wait, Hasan, they're sending these people too? No, these guys are doing the domestic home front. They're fighting the real battle. Diabetes, heart disease. You need to keep the troops positioned at home. When being born in New Jersey backfires, I have bone spurs, so it's fine. I have bone spurs, actually, so I won't be attending. I'm transgender and I have bone spurs. Yeah. Turns out it's transgender for everybody. Oh, man. Wonderful things are happening in the world. Really, just awesome. So cool. Important for chatters that are about to be drafted. The 10 items guaranteed to clog a toilet. There you go, guys. Don't worry. If you get drafted, you can just pull one of these bad boys. You'll be fine. They put you on that ship, you're tearing at a new one. Yeah, the Pahlavis are also mad that Trump's 15-point plan is not looking too good. IRGC won't. This tier
This
3
is my
Hasan
list of
Abi
the top 5 things to do if you get drafted. Number 2 will blow your mind. First up, we got deserting. This one's a classic. Once they ship you over there, as long as you learn the language, you should be able to just leave and join the other side. Number 4 is going to be espionage. Another classic, a little less exciting, and it does require you to do some groundwork, but it's a very vital job. Number 3 is going to be equipment sabotage. The tanks, vehicles, planes, all that are some of the most expensive pieces of equipment ever created. True. So if you learn about them and learn how to sabotage them, it'll be a great help. Number 2 on the list is going to be computer sabotage. By the time we all get drafted, they're probably going to be using some like crazy AI. So it shouldn't be that hard to like fake an AI resume, and then once you're in, replace the US military AI with like Homer Simpson AI. Number 1, you know what it is, Chris Dorner mode. Identify your commanding officers who are the most fascist, most...
Parody. Parody. This is parody. Oh my God, TikTok is a Chinese app. Propaganda. Parody. I disavow. Anyway, absurd. The conditions of the 15-point plan are literally better than the JCPOA if followed through on them. Iran is never going to fucking limit their missile capabilities, and most likely will never stop funding the IRGC, or never stop funding the proxies in general. So, you know, good luck to America on this 15-point plan that they put out there with no assurances.
In to this war. It has to be said that the Saudi government has issued a statement denying any of these claims. This is the fog of war. You know, you will have leaks everywhere, confusing people, paving the way for the public opinion for the next step of the war. Just shortly after this article came out, another leak came out with another news organization saying that 3,000 more U.S. soldiers were on the way to this region. I think it's to really to create this fog of war that happens during each and every conflict I covered. Probably the truth is somewhere in between.
And Hoda, Iran this Tuesday is continuing to attack Gulf states. Have you noticed any shift in the intensity or the targets of these attacks, Hoda?
I have to say, I was listening to the press conference, the weekly press conference of the spokesman of the foreign minister here in Qatar, Majid al-Ansari, because we hadn't heard any alert for the good part of the last 2.5 to 3 days. And then he all of a sudden said that doesn't mean that there haven't been any attacks. Shortly after, the Ministry of Defense has clarified that today alone, for example, 9 ballistic missiles were intercepted here in Qatar. There seems to be maybe a shift that the attacks from Iran are now targeting specific areas away from the urban areas. You see that, for example, in Saudi Arabia, where most of the drones intercepted, or all of them, I would say, on this day, were towards the eastern region. That's home to most of the oil refineries and the most important oil installations in Saudi Arabia. And then you had another attack in Bahrain where a UAE contractor who is of a Moroccan origin was killed, and several others were hurt, that again being a military target. So people here are a bit confused. Many would tell you maybe there's space for diplomacy, maybe something is happening behind the scenes. President Trump seems to say that. He just said it about 20 minutes ago or so while I was on standby to...
By the way, I'm noticing they're talking about 82nd Airborne, open source intel, by the way, another Israeli classic. 82nd Airborne, 75th Rangers, Delta, 160th SOAR, SEALs. The RGCs should start praying. Noticing that there's no IDF units mentioned in this. Have you guys noticed that? Because I've noticed that the IDF is not involved in this ground unit positioning. How strange. How strange. Why do you want to send the Jewish people from the only Jewish state and the only democracy in the Middle East into war? Are you Hamas? Yeah, only Lebanon. Only Lebanon. Volkswagen is returning to the Nazi business. They can't escape their roots. German government supports the move also. Volkswagen to shift from cars to missile defense and deal with Israel's Iron Dome maker. Oh, God, I just don't. I want to forget the existence of the state of Germany. Please, can we just have one fucking day where I don't have to think about Germany? Please. I feel bad for the Germans that are stuck in Germany. God damn it, dude. It's just, let's not think about Germany. Please. Oh, my God. Oh, my fucking God. Anyway, let's see what the Democratic ambition is here. Paul Begala is right. Democratic majority for Israel says, if you're a liberal, there's good reason to stand with Israel.
Well, this is something that my party has to address. So your party has a terrible anti-Semitism, but so does mine. Let's be honest.
Great.
And I tell all my liberal friends, who had a bigger pride parade, Tel Aviv or Tehran? Right? Who has a free press? Who has elections? I don't support.
Wait, who has a free press? Israel objectively does not have a free press. They literally have a military censor. What the fuck? Israel has also still refused to allow any journalist. Israel's killed more journalists than Iran has. Like, what are these metrics, dude? Israel has killed more journalists than Iran has. Okay, that's number one. Number two, Israel literally does not have a free press. It's just not even a thing. Okay, so that's totally ridiculous. Yeah, Israel's gay pride parade, gay marriage is not legal in the state of Israel. It's not an accident that all the Israeli gays fly to Cyprus to get married. Okay. And last but not least, as far as the censorship goes, not only do they have a military censor, but they also kill journalists with regular frequency. Yeah, and interfaith marriages are allowed in Iran. They're not allowed in Israel. And I guess, like, as far as the Israeli democracy goes, I mean, yeah, they argue on the basis on shit like, you know, how much should we allow women to read, or you know, how hard we should be genociding the Palestinian population. But, you know, there's not a lot of disagreements that are taking place overall.
Netanyahu, I went over there and worked for Bougie Herzog. I can tell you firsthand, they have a thriving democracy and a free press. Democracies can self-correct.
Like, everything that we say about Iran, we can say about Israel tenfold, okay? We cannot have a country, a theocratic governance in the Middle Eastern region with nuclear arms that will kill its own citizens with regular frequency applies tenfold to Israel, except they already have fucking nukes.
I think they're on the wrong track. I think America's on the wrong track. We can self-correct with our elections. Right. Hamas can't self-correct. So my side, too, has to...
Oh, really? Why can't they? Perhaps it's because, as a Zionist, you don't see them as human beings, but simply fucking animals. Maybe that's the reason. Democratic strategist.
Find a way, I think, to reestablish the liberal values that the U.S.-Israel relationship is based on. Well, this is something that...
Zionism is racism, both hidden and not so hidden. But it's that simple. What kind of crazy talk is this? The United States has reportedly sustained nearly $4 billion in military equipment losses. Way more than that. At least 16 aircraft, multiple radar systems, regional base in the USS Gerald R. 4 were decommissioned. Sell crazy someplace else. Racism is hidden and not so hidden. Lol, what? Yes. Zionism is racism, both hidden and not hidden. Like, hidden racism. Like, this argument is a version of what I'm talking about, where you just say, like, the opposition, like the Palestinians, are actually barbaric. Like, that's racist. There's a racist attitude. They can't control themselves. They can't, like, make decisions. So we have to literally destroy them. He's not literally saying those words. That would be not hidden racism. But he is engaging in a covert racist narrative, because Zionism is supremacist. It's a supremacist, fascist, settler colonial ideology.
Correspondents covering the latest developments from Tehran, near Ramallah, Baghdad and Washington, D.C., where we will start with our White House correspondent, Kimberly Halkett. So, Kimberly, first of all, a lot of messages coming out of Donald Trump there. What's the bottom line? Is he saying that he believes they're close to a deal with Iran to end this war?
That's exactly what the U.S. president seemed to be indicating moments ago in the Oval Office. While he insisted that diplomatic negotiations are still ongoing, he did say that Iran has agreed to the U.S.'s primary request or ask, and that is never to have a nuclear weapon. Now, he says the two sides are still talking, but he believes that this has been accomplished. He also said he believes that the war has been won, although he then sort of contradicted himself and said, I think we're going to end it, but I can't tell you for sure. But one thing is for sure is that the U.S. president told reporters he believes that the other goal for the United States, which was to achieve a regime change in Iran, has occurred. He argued that it is now the third tier of leaders who are also gone. And that means, given the fact that the top leadership is no longer in control, the U.S. president believes that he has achieved what he was looking for.
We've also had this line from Donald Trump about receiving a significant present. Now, any indication from anyone in the administration what he's talking about?
Well, the White House has not specified what the president was talking about. And you're right, it was very cryptic what the U.S. president was saying, and he said it more than once. What he said was that Iran had given a present. He didn't say if it was to the United States, although it was implied that was the case, and that he said it was made a lot of money, and it showed that it was negotiating, meaning the United States was negotiating with the, quote, right people. All the U.S. president would say is that this present, as he called it, or gift, was related to oil and gas, but he expressly said that he would not say what the gift was, only that it arrived on Tuesday. Now, there has been some speculation that this has to do with the sale of oil, those 140 barrels that have been stranded. We know that the Treasury Department lifted sanctions on Iranian oil on Friday, and so it may have to do with the sale of that. But again, this is the speculation here in Washington. It has not been confirmed by the White House, and the U.S. president flat out said he wouldn't tell what the present was that he believes Iran has given.
They gave us a present, and the present arrived today. It was a very big present worth a tremendous amount of money. And I'm not going to tell you what that present is, but it was a very significant prize. And they gave it to us, and they said they were going to give it. So that meant one thing to me.
I'm still wondering what that is. Like what? I don't think they did that, right? Like, I don't think Iran actually did that at all. But it's making me wonder, Brad Schneider, Hasan Piker is an unapologetic anti-Semite. Democrats are really losing our credibility to condemn those on the right who traffic in bigotry, anti-Semitism, and hate when our own members of Congress and candidates are celebrating, or worse yet, platforming those who espouse hate of any kind. I'm proud of our Big Ten and hate the fact that we welcome broad diversity of opinion priorities, but we cannot allow those who preach hate and seek division to find safe harbor among us. We must call out hate and reject those who champion ideologies of exclusion and demonization. Yeah, I mean, look, let's be real. I have offended Israel far too much. So all of its lapdogs will chirp. Okay? That's it. Rishi Torres used to bark quite a bit. He barks in a different direction now. That's all I'm going to say. Did they take an Iranian oil tanker? My guess? No. Ooh, not good. Not good. I'm going to post that. Oof. Tread carefully. Attacking a Jewish Reb will be used as fodder against you. I know it's bullshit, but just FYI. Yeah, I mean, Brad Schneider is literally written op-eds for Times of Israel. Kamala Harris stands as a steadfast ally for Israel and the American Jewish community, actively supporting a strong U.S.-Israel relationship and confronting anti-Semitism. 6 likes. Let's be real. This is poison in the party, okay? It's a little different when it's Rishi Torres. My point, I don't give a shit. I don't care about the optics of that at all. Yeah, it was great to see so many friends and supporters at AIPAC's policy conference last week. I mean, that's from 2011, but, you know, not very surprising. Yeah, Rishi Torres went from barking at me to barking at settler terrorism in the West Bank. Yeah, what are they going to do? Call me an anti-Semite? They already do that. Brad is up to 6 mil. Wait, what? Oh, my Lord. I mean, at least the PAC donations are like $1 mil. Yeah, look at that. The crisis of extremist settler violence in the West Bank must be confronted and the perpetrators must be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. There should be zero tolerance for violent extremism, no matter what form it takes and no matter what direction from which it continues. You can edit the pic with the new one. I don't think you can do that in edits, can you? I don't think that'll, the editing. Oh, you can. Nice. Hell yeah. Wait, did it change? Wait, I thought I was able to edit it, but I guess I did not. It didn't update. Oh no, it's right here. It did update. Remember this legendary APAC? Yeah, this was so funny. Mike Collins doing it for the love of the game. $9 received from the pro-Israel lobby. $9, dude. But this is why I also say, oh, this is funny. Y'all, we need to talk about Richie Torres doing blood libel on Maine. Yeah, now that I'm considered, now that I have a new name in Israel, they know me on the streets of Tel Aviv by my new name, Dr. Jihad. Maybe Dr. Jihad can make a new placement on the Anti-Semite of the Year awards.
Deal with the right people.
Is that nuclear related?
No, it wasn't nuclear related. It was oil and gas related.
One other thing we know that is taking place right now is the U.S. president says that the negotiations well and going are including the Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, his envoys Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, as well as the president himself. And one of the big things still being negotiated is who will ultimately control the Strait of Hormuz.
Kimberly Halkett there from outside the White House. Let's continue this and take it. Ali Hashim is standing by for us there. So, Ali, this is the second time in 24 hours that Donald Trump has been claiming he's having negotiations. Now, are we getting any reaction in Iran that is in any way different to the denials we've had so far?
Well, since yesterday, the speculations over negotiations have been denied by the Iranian government, by the Iranian Foreign Ministry, by the Speaker of the Parliament, Mohammad Baqir Qalibaf. However, there have been sources leaking that there is already a plan or an offer on the table. And the Iranians are studying, the National Security Council, Supreme National Security Council is studying this offer, and that whenever this offer is approved, then there'll be possibility for talks in Pakistan. Now, is there a deal? Is there issues that are secret and no one knows about? That's something really we don't know about, because, you know, in such situations and such paths, the Iranians tend to be discreet as much as possible, and this is related to the secure paths to a deal, if there is a deal. Now, what could be on that deal? It seems there is a guarantee now for Mr. Trump that Iran is not going to make a nuclear bomb, but we know this long time ago. I mean, this is not something new that we are hearing for the first time. There is a fatwa in Iran by the previous or the former Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei that making and storing and researching a nuclear bomb is something haram, which is forbidden. So aside from this, what is on that list of requests and on the lists of agreement, this thing that we should actually keep watching.
Epstein, okay, I don't want to.
Are the Iranians going to give up on their ballistic missiles program, especially after the war? Because in this war, it proved that it's their only defensive shield. Are they going to give up on their groups and allies in the region? This is another big question. So the big question, actually, the bigger questions are to come. The more we
Those videos are so funny. Like,
questions
throwing up hearts.
The big question, actually, the bigger questions are to come the more we are getting closer to the talks. And then actually everyone would be waiting to see whether there is going to be a deal, and what would this deal include, and whether Israel is part of this deal, and whether the GCC countries are also part of this deal, or they accept this deal.
Paul
and
Atreides launching the family atomics. True.
These are issues that actually aren't simple, and they need a lot to be discussed and agreed on.
Not to mention the question, of course, key question, Ali, of course, of whether they'll give up on enrichment. But maybe not related to that, is Donald Trump's claim that the Iranians have given a big present. Any indication from anyone in Iran what he's talking about, and whether the Iranians have made any sort of...
When you're a Wall Street Journal journo from Tel Aviv, insane how it's gone from denying to just matter-of-fact bragging that starvation is part of the Israeli military smuggling in the Caspian intertwined with trade in crucial supplies such as wheat. The attack also threatened Iran's food supply, signaling Israel's ability to bring more pain to the population if necessary, the people familiar with the matter said. Love that. Love that they're just like openly saying, like, we don't wage war in the normal function. Like, we are here to kill civilians. Like, we're here to starve out the population. Yeah, this is what fucking happens when you don't rein in Israel in any way, shape, or form. This becomes the new norm. Washington Post dropped a what? Oh God, Washington Post. I love that they're using the limited amount of resources they fucking have to do shit like this. Fantastic. Didn't even reach out for a quote, by the way. Even the Daily Mail, which is also dropping their corresponding article, at least reached out for a fucking quote. Why are they getting a full court press? I think part of it is because I don't know. I think they greatly overemphasize the amount of like motion I have. It's funny to say like this is activism hypocrisy when this is a newspaper owned by Jeff Bezos. Like, what are you saying? He's one of the richest people on the fucking planet, and he owns this newspaper. And you're over here talking about rich people doing charitable contributions. What the fuck? And you refuse to sue anyone slandering you? What are you, fucking stupid? There's literally no suing. This is just an opinion editorial. What? I'm going to sue them for what? Calling myself hypocritical? What are you, crazy? Okay, now you guys are actually lost in the sauce a little bit. The amount of motion you have is decided for you, I'm afraid. If anything you do is going to be highlighted across a wide variety of media like this, then you got motion. That's what motion is. Do they need to reach out for a quote for an opinion piece? They don't have to.
From around the world flew to Cuba on what they're calling a humanitarian mission.
Next time, go with a temp, bro. I think you're underestimating how much motion you actually have, bro. I mean, I guess.
Overture to the Americans in a way that could be interpreted as a present?
Well, Sami, at least on my side, I don't know. I mean, never heard of this, but everything is possible. You know, this is politics, and in politics, there are presents. And
yeah, they want to nip this in the bud before they allow what happened with the Palestinians happens with Cubans. They're literally full court press on this. Fuck the legacy media for this. Yeah. That's what I think. I do think that there is a free pressification of all like major news media now. Washington Post is basically like the free press. CNN is basically like the free press. New York Times is operating in a similar capacity. In some ways, as it corresponds to American State Department initiatives, the mainstream media has always behaved like this. But to varying degrees, right? To varying degrees of idiocy. I think the New York Times hit piece wasn't as like hardcore of a hit piece as what I'm sure will come from the Daily Mail. But I think these guys are just. Also, you don't really need to call me fucking stupid, man, misinformed, sure, but this name calling shit gets old. Okay, sorry, I apologize, chatter. You're right, but I can't sue an opinion editorial unless there is like directly a massive slander in it. Daily Mail is already out, by the way. Yeah, I gave him the same exact quote that I gave. I gave him the same exact quote that I gave the New York Times. I don't know if they actually posted it or not. Yeah, okay, they haven't posted it. The Washington Post article alleges you play video games. Clear defamation. True. What is this? Media, there's nobody to help. What the fuck is this? Oh, wait, is this Kash Patel's girlfriend? I think a lot of these people saw what you did for Zoran and they do not want it happening again in the midterms. Just came from the Daily Mail article. Go fuck yourself, dude. No, Connor. FBI Director Kash Patel's girlfriend says Michael Flynn, Tucker Carlson, and Joe Ken and Candace Owens are all tied to a foreign influence operation. Yeah, it's pretty funny that that she's calling other people foreign linked intelligence assets when there's a higher likelihood that she is.
There are transactions and everything is transactional in life. So what might have happened, this is something that I'll personally dig, and I promise you I'll try to get you an answer. But for now, I don't know.
Okay, thanks so much, Ali Hashim there from Tehran.
Good evening from Beirut. I'm Yalda Hakim. Propaganda, tough talking, misdirection, whatever you want to call it, it's become an accepted tool of modern warfare. So you'll hear all the action words: demolished, decimated, completely obliterated. Donald Trump will say the war is over, then send thousands of troops to the Middle East while continuing to bomb Tehran. Iran will pledge to fight till complete victory, insist it doesn't want to harm its neighbors, then send dozens of missiles towards the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain and Kuwait. But behind those words of war, what's actually happening? 12,000 targets hit by the US and Israel in less than a month. More than 2,000 people killed. And now we know some conversations are taking place through mediators from Egypt, Turkey and Pakistan. And that US Vice President J.D. Vance could be the chief negotiator if face-to-face talks do happen in Islamabad. But if you're running Iran, you'll be suspicious that America is publicly talking of peace while secretly plotting a big attack. And this is why. Have a look.
We're not going to put up with it any longer. We're going to continue to do well. We have the greatest military in the world by far. And I think you'll see it's going to be a short-term excursion. We're not leaving until that job is finished. As far as I'm concerned, we've essentially defeated Iran. The result will be lower oil prices. And I said, if I do that, oil prices will go up.
What is going on with Sky News, man? They got music in the background? That's unbelievable.
The president in getting America's allies to assist the U.S. in escorting those oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz.
Well, we don't need too much help, and we don't need any help, actually. I'm demanding that these countries come in and protect their own territory because it is their territory. We don't use the strait. The United States, we don't need it. Their oil comes out of the strait, and they should be in here very happily helping us. We were planning tomorrow on shooting down some of their power plants, and we're going to hold that up. Hopefully we won't have to do it. You don't do a ceasefire when you're literally obliterating the other side. We're doing a 5-day period. We'll see how that goes.
Oh, man. The compies, buddy. The compies.
Well, look, we can have dialogue, but we don't.
This guy's impression of you is so good.
Get ready with me as I do my Hasan impression. So my Hasan impression is pretty simple. The basic idea is he wants the person who he's meeting to have a positive experience, but he's kind of uncomfortable intrinsically with the interaction. And so what happens is the face doesn't match the tone. I'll be like, "What's up? Nice to meet you. You want a picture? Of course. Let's do it." Get ready with me as I do my Hasan impression.
I've literally met him. That's why this hurts even harder. That's why he cooked my ass, bro. This happened in real life. Read like a fucking book, dude. Read me to filth. Goddamn. Goddamn. Oh, this was the other one. Jake Auchincloss, Jake Anschluss is right. If Democrats want to win, we need to run candidates who won't hesitate to buck the party when it's right for their district.
I think the American public thinks the Democrats can be.
By the way, when he says that, he doesn't mean like in the left direction. He means that in the right direction.
Weak and whiny, candidly. And they want to see candidates who bring some strength, bring some swagger, willing to buck the groups on the left, the status quo establishment in Washington, D.C., and break some pottery. Not in sort of the destructive wrecking ball way that Donald Trump does, but in a way that says, at the end of the day, politics is a contact sport, and I'm willing to put on the pads. I think number two is you're going to see across our members and our candidates authenticity to their district. These are people who walk and talk like the voters are trying to represent, whether it's a minister in Iowa or a Latino Grammy Award winning singer in Texas, Vice Admiral here in South Carolina, Navy SEAL in Michigan.
Wow, so many people bucking the trend. Examples used are the trend.
Michigan. These are people who connect with their district, and I think that their constituents, their voters, leave their living.
He just laid out like most of the Democratic Party stereotypes, with the exception of like a Latino Grammy winning singer.
Rooms feeling like at the end of the day, I'm not going to agree with you 100% of the time, but I feel like you're going to be working for me.
Where were we? Paper oil market. U.S. military attacks on Iran, 61% say they disapprove, while 39% approve of the action. 3/4 of the Republicans approve of these attacks. Almost all Democrats disapprove. More than 70% of independents disapprove. 75% among Republicans is a red alarm. Bottom about the fallout stuff. I agree. I don't think this is too hopeful of a sentiment. Anything sub 80 is in the panic zone for Republicans because it's a cult. Anything that goes below 80 is good for the country. Anything that gets sub 80 approval is the needle moving in the right direction. That's why you saw Asmongoy hit that like, oh, we'd be so stupid if we just gave Iran everything.
I don't want to do a ceasefire. This is a change in the regime because the leaders are all very different than the ones that we started off with that created all those problems. So this was, I think we can say, Jason, this is regime change, right?
The president, in his own words, over a 3-week period, ending there on his answers in the White House just a few hours ago. Well, let's go straight to our U.S. correspondent, Mark Stone, who joins us live from Washington. Mark, I mean, just watching that montage over the course of the last 4 weeks, it's almost like the president is just continually thinking on his feet about how he's prosecuting this war.
Or he's a master chess player and has conned us all. Who knows? I think if you take him at face value, and I've watched him every day, every hour, every time he comes out, and it seems clear to me that that he doesn't have a plan B, and plan A doesn't appear to be working. And
oh, no.
He is now almost correcting his own, marking his own homework and claiming that regime change has happened when plainly it has not. I mean, let's take that one issue as an example. He said today, regime change has happened and the war is over. Well, the person we think he's talking to is the Speaker of the Iranian Parliament, Mohammad Khalibaf, who was a member of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps for many, many years. He is the other side of the same coin, the regime, which is run by the son of the supreme leader. He is the new supreme leader. He may be dead, but we do not know. So the regime hasn't changed at all. And in fact, there's every reason to think that it is more extreme, more intent on revenge now, more intent on a nuclear weapon than it was before. And on that second point, the nuclear weapon, the president said today that he believes that he believes them that they've now nuclear weapon. Well, they said that in Geneva on the day just before Donald Trump decided then that he didn't believe them and launched the military action. So why should he believe the same people now who he didn't believe back a month ago? So those are two examples of where there is clear mixed thinking coming out of the White House, intentional or otherwise. So Plan A doesn't appear to have worked, and there isn't clearly a Plan B, because if there was a Plan B, well then they would have mitigated for that, they would have planned for that, and we wouldn't have seen the Strait of Hormuz being blockaded as it is. We would have seen allies in the region and in Europe being kept across the plan so that they could help to mitigate if Plan B came to pass, which, by the way, the consequences of that have happened. We've seen that in the oil market. So all taken together, it feels from here at least to be rather a mess that the president is now trying to extract himself from.
Yeah, and you know, we're hearing a lot from the president these days. I mean, just this afternoon, he also alluded to a big gift from Iran. And before you...
They only want to talk to the chud? Yeah, we saw this already. I don't know what they're thinking.
come in and give us your analysis of that. Let's just have a listen to what he had to say.
My girlfriend's brother's in the Army, 82nd Airborne Division. They're sending roughly 3,000, 4,000 troops to Iran, and he's getting deployed. I'm horrified. He's 18. Conscientious objector. Now, you can do that. You should tell him to do that. He can apply for conscientious objector status, even during deployment. Pretty sure. I've been posting this nonstop. Don't you get thrown in prison? Yeah, but there's legal help. Also, I think prison is fucking preferable to turning into mist by a Shahed drone, don't you think? Do you want to be in a fucking FPV compilation? Yes. It's CCW4COs, okay? Center on Conscience and War. It's not too late for service members to get out. Explore your options. One of our professional counselors. Call the Center on Conscience and War. 1-800-379-2679. Better to be tried by 12 than carried by 6. True. I get it now. You're a tough love kind of guy. What do you mean? I mean, do you want to die for the state of Israel? Fuck all that noise. Just threaten to end yourself and they'll let you leave with your benefits. No, this is probably better. Difficult to claim conscientious objector if you enlisted for combat MOs. I was talking to Mike Prisner about this, but I'm pretty sure you still can. There's like still better to try. Yeah, the U.S. is so powerful that it could destroy the entire Middle East and it would barely register for most Americans. Yet if you listen to geopolitics pilled people, is constantly threatened by enemies so fearsome they will somehow destroy the American way of life unless the U.S. wreaks havoc halfway around the world in a place they've never even heard of. It's true. I forgot to mention this. I watched this last night. I think I watched this like around 3 a.m. And this is a nightmare, okay? The average American. Now, obviously, these aren't like the smartest Americans. Let's be real. Yeah, who wants their death to be via drone with Reddit commenters saying, wow, you can see the exact moment he gave up. Unfucking believable, this video. We'll get to it in a second.
They did something yesterday that was amazing, actually. They gave us a present, and the present arrived today. And it was a very big present worth a tremendous amount of money. And I'm not going to tell you what that present is, but it was a very significant prize. And they gave it to us, and they said they were going to give it. So that meant one thing to me: we're dealing with the right people.
What is that present? We don't know. I mean, is it a real present? Perhaps it's a piece of rock from that island off Iran, which the Americans say they need to control. Maybe the Iranians have suddenly announced that they can have access to that. I doubt it. I think perhaps it is something, if it even exists, and we need to question that. This is supposed to be a
serious news broadcast. That's crazy. Guys, this is Sky News. Okay? They've literally given up. Do you understand? I've never seen Sky News analysis like so deeply unserious about such serious subject matter. They're just, you know, they're fucking around now. A sign of the times, man. They did a compy and now they're just making fun of Trump.
Don't have a good faith actor on the Iranian side. We've known that for decades. But it's clear, too, that on the American side right now, what they tell us is not necessarily the truth. So is there a present? Is there an offering? Has someone within the Iranian regime said to President Trump's negotiators, whoever they may be, and we think it's Steve Witkoff, but we're not sure. At the weekend he was dealing with Ukraine. Have they offered perhaps to open up the Strait of Hormuz? Have they committed to not attacking any commercial vessels that are passing through that? Is that the gift that Donald Trump is talking about? I can tell you from the faces of the few reporters that were in the Oval Office, they were as baffled as we are. We simply don't know what that is.
Thanks so much, Mark.
Chief National Correspondent Jennifer Griffin joins me now reporting from Washington. Hi, Jen.
Hi, Martha. Fox News has learned the commander of the 82nd Airborne Division and his headquarters staff have been ordered to deploy to the Middle East, an indication that more ground troops could follow. Thousands of U.S. Marine reinforcements are set to cross into CENTCOM's area of operations in the Indian Ocean as soon as Friday. when one of 2 Marine Expeditionary Units arrive on board the USS Tripoli and its amphibious Ready Group. But of those 2,200 Marines, about 800 are infantry. The rest are support and logistics. For comparison, when the U.S. Marines stormed the beaches of Iwo Jima during World War II, it took 70,000 Marines and resulted in nearly 7,000 Americans killed and 20,000 wounded. Iwo Jima was 8 square miles. Karg Island is 12 square miles. There is also the issue of getting the 31st MEU, or Marine Expeditionary Unit, through the Strait of Hormuz, which remains in control of the IRGC and too dangerous to pass. President Trump indicated that he...
What do you mean? I thought they got it. Fox News? Fox News repeating fake news that the IRGC is in control of the Strait of Hormuz? Excuse me. Haven't you heard Donald Trump said it's open? And so did Pete Hegseth. They said it's open for those who dare to cross it. Interesting. Interesting revelation from Fox News. Like, do the boomers that watch Donald Trump and hang on every word that he says, do they ever get confused, do you think? Do they ever just like hear this on accident and go, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. I thought we were winning. This is also part of the reason why it's so ridiculous that there are, like, if you think Israel, if you think we've seen the like how unpopular Israel has gotten, if you think that that's like the maximum unpopularity just yet, wait till troops come back in fucking coffins, flag draped coffins, and everyone is like, they died for Israel. Just wait. Just fucking wait, man. I don't think they're going to Karg Island, but it doesn't matter. No matter where they go, it'll be a fucking death trap, in my opinion.
He is willing to negotiate. The U.S. has struck over 9,000 targets in Iran, conducted 9,000 combat flights, and destroyed or damaged more than 140 Iranian vessels. Yesterday, the USS Gerald R. Ford, one of just 2 aircraft carrier strike groups that the U.S. has deployed to the Middle East, pulled into Suda Bay, Crete for repairs after a fire ripped through the laundry and sleeping quarters. 200 sailors were treated for smoke-related injuries. The Ford has been at sea since June, taking part in the Venezuela operation. The extended deployment, Martha, of the USS Ford with its 5,000 sailors and 75 warplanes could take it out of commission for over a year. Martha.
Jennifer, thank you very much. Jennifer Griffin reporting from Washington.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.
Israel's military intentions in southern Lebanon have been laid bare by Defense Minister Israel Katz.
Hundreds of thousands of residents of southern Lebanon who evacuated north will not return south of the Litani River until security is guaranteed for residents of the north. All 5 bridges over the Litani that Hezbollah used to transport terrorists and weapons have been blown up, and the IDF will control the remaining bridges and the security zone up to the Litani.
The key waterway meets the Mediterranean about 30 kilometres north of the border between Israel and Lebanon, and the demolished bridges have already isolated the area, which covers nearly a tenth of Lebanon's territory. Such attacks on civilian infrastructure are generally prohibited under international law, but Katz maintains Tel Aviv is targeting Hezbollah.
Well, the principle is clear. Where there is terror and missiles, there will be no homes and residents.
Israel has accused Beirut of not fulfilling its promise to disarm the militant group. In turn, Lebanon's president said Tuesday the war could have been avoided if Tel Aviv withdrew from occupied areas in the south and honoured the 2024 ceasefire deal. While his government has not yet prevented Hezbollah from coordinating strikes with Iran into Israel, it has declared the Iranian ambassador persona non grata, ordering them to leave Lebanon by Sunday, and effectively outlawed all military activity by both Hezbollah and the Iranian Revolutionary Guards. But for Israel, it appears too little too late to halt further ground incursions. Far-right Minister Bezalel Smotrich is even calling to totally annex the south.
The Litani River must be our new border with the state of Lebanon.
Israelis for animal welfare, ban shot collars and declawing. Brother, you're the last guy to be saying anything.
Hezbollah, for its part, says it will fight any move by Israel to occupy Lebanese territory, saying it would pose an existential threat to Lebanon as a state.
Human rights groups are clear that many of Israel's attacks could amount to war crimes.
But Hezbollah made a decision to enter this war, and many people here in Lebanon believe that you're sacrificing this country for Iran's interests, not for the Lebanese people's interests.
I just want to remind you that more than 500 people have been killed, assassinated by the Israeli aggression during this 15 months of the agreement to stop the aggression. We have never sent a bullet against the Israelis. When the Israelis and the Americans started their war against Iran, we saw that this is the opportunity to retaliate and to enter the war in order to defend our country.
We see by the fact that Hezbollah is fighting against Israeli troops on the...
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's totally ridiculous. Totally fucking ridiculous to act like Israel was abiding by the principles of the ceasefire when they killed 500 plus Lebanese people.
Ground that Hezbollah has also been rearming in the south of the Litani. That's also breaking the ceasefire.
Did you make your own researches and you went there and you have documents to provide that we were Absolutely not. You're talking about people, individuals who have all the faith in their country and in their God to sacrifice. When the opportunity came, our people went from the north of Litani to the south of Litani in order, and it wouldn't take much time.
When and if this war ends, it could end in an even worse position with some kind of Israeli occupation of southern Lebanon. What is Hezbollah's aim in starting this war? It seems like whatever the outcome is going to be worse for you and for the Lebanese people.
This is a mere speculation about the future. It's early enough in order to predict what would be the outcome for the war now. I believe what we should be keep in our mind that we are steadfast, and I believe we have every opportunity to make them bow to our terms and not to be dictated by their own terms.
Thanks for Trump and thanks for Netanyahu, because they are helping.
Bombs never bring freedom. Never, ever.
Do not listen to America and Israel. They're your proper number one enemy.
Is it okay for Iranian lives to be lost for what you want to achieve?
Unfortunately.
Oh my God. Bro, that sequence of questioning was so fucking nutty. And it's straightforward victim blaming, because from the Hezbollah perspective, Israel has never stopped bombing southern Lebanon. Okay? They've never stopped bombing southern Lebanon during the ceasefire. And he's literally like, oh, well, you amassed your troops. Like, you didn't abide by the good faith agreement. It's like, and the only reason for why I'm making this statement is because you're effectively putting on a strong opposition against Israel. Absolutely unbelievable. That line of questioning, that level of questioning, that line of questioning, that tone in the questioning should be exclusive to Israeli leadership. That guy is usually a decent, out of all these fucking assholes, he's more decent than a lot of the other people, but it's like something bricks in the brains of these people. I feel like they remember when I used to talk about how like they reset every time. Like they just reset. Their brains rewire after every like ceasefire. They just go back to like day one talking points.
Unfortunately.
Iranian communities are taking to the streets across the UK as their homeland faces an American and Israeli bombardment which brings huge political uncertainty.
To the great, proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations.
But can this war liberate Iran, as the US president claims? And more importantly, who could then come to power? I've been speaking to members of the Iranian diaspora here in the UK to hear what they want for their country, some of whom were held as political prisoners following the Islamic Revolution.
I saw underage girls and boys were raped and executed. And I thought to myself, I can't forget this, and I have to talk about it. I have to fight against this regime. The violence I saw, apart from torture I endured, it went to my system. It made me very angry. I'm not sorry that I'm still angry against the regime. My generation fought, struggled against this regime. And as far as I know, my generation is against this war.
There will be people who are listening to you and feeling a little confused. You fled the horrors of a regime, 8 years in prison, and yet you still don't want to see the regime fall under the American and Israeli bombs. How do you explain that?
Bombs never bring freedom, never ever. If you just look at the history, you can see that.
I wasn't sure that much, but I'm so confident now. The freedoms are coming, and finally we are winning. And thanks for Trump and thanks for Netanyahu, because they are helping. They are helping us.
میهنان عزیزم، لحظاتی سر روی ماست. کمکی که رئیس جمهور ایالات متحده به مردم شجاع ایران وعده داده بود، اکنون رسیده است.
Reza Pahlavi is the son of the former Shah of Iran who was ousted during the Iranian Revolution of 1979. It transformed the country from a monarchy into an Islamic republic, with Ayatollah Khomeini becoming supreme leader. Pahlavi now lives in exile in America, and many royalists want to see him return to lead Iran.
Son of Shah is no dictator like the supreme leader or something like that. We trust him. In 47 years, he never changed his one word. He's always care about democracy and secular country. So that's why we supported him.
It's difficult to say just how popular Pahlavi actually is. His supporters are loud and well organized, and this could over-amplify his importance. And he can only come to power if the current theocratic republic is overthrown. US-Israeli strikes killed Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, a prominent figure for many Iranians and Shia Muslims.
I want a secular, democratic government. I'm not monarchist, but I respect Reza Pahlavi. All these opposition, they did nothing. I was a child, but they did nothing. The opposition, none of them did anything. But Reza Pahlavi, the only thing, I mean, the thing I like about...
What did he do? Wait, what? The opposition did nothing? What did Reza Pahlavi do? Watch his wife get fucked by the yoga instructor? What has he done? Be born into the monarchy? In exile?
About him is, first of all, he was brought up in Western country. So he knows freedom.
Oh my God.
Means.
Is it okay for Iranian lives to be lost for what you want to achieve?
Unfortunately, this is what we have to, 47 years we have lost lives. God knows, I mean, how many people, but I think that if Israel and America, and I don't think that they are angels, no. We have problem with them as well. But if we didn't have Islamic Republic regime, they wouldn't come to Iran.
I've grown up going to Iran every summer, as much as we can afford. We speak Farsi in my home. I spoke Farsi before I spoke English. And I went to Iranian school right in Farsi. And I have always been extremely close with my family in Iran, extremely close. I personally cannot say that I am happy with bombs being dropped on my country where civilians are dying, and it's not in their interest. It's in the interest of US and Israel. However, what I do know is that this is a breaking point. You know, we've never seen this amount of intervention and attack on the military, on the intelligence of the dictatorship that Iran has. Now we need to look at what do we do now? Whose voices do we listen to now? We listen to Iranians, all of them, not just monarchists. We also listen to Kurds. We also listen to Azaris, all the ethnic groups, all the religions. What did they want? Because we've never been asked this.
President Trump has called on Kurds to rise up against the Iranian regime under the promise of independence. But not all Kurds trust America.
I'm a Rojavati Kurd from Iran, yeah.
All right. You see yourself as Kurdish or Iranian?
Kurdish and Iranian, yeah. My message for the Kurds as well, the Peshmerga and Komal and everything is, do not listen to America and Israel. They're your proper threat number one enemy. Do not get involved in a war with Iran because they will betray you like how they betrayed the Kurdish people in Rojava, Syria part. They will betray you, they're trying to get you involved. And after that, they will say, we're not involved. The America will say we're not involved. So my message to the Peshmerga of Kurdistan, do not get involved in a war with Iran.
When there is an onslaught against Iran, when there's an invasion against Iran, when there's an attack against Iran, Iranians rally behind their flag. Most nations do this. And that's exactly what happened. And Donald Trump had the most important achievement of his life. He managed to unite Iranians to have the same spirit of solidarity that they had in the very early years of the Islamic Revolution.
Yep.
That spirit of resistance, there is not a chance in a million that the Israeli and the US aggression can succeed. It will fail. There is no way Iran is going to be defeated.
At this remembrance in central London, held to honour Iranian victims of violence, organisers stressed it was a strictly non-political event.
We kindly ask that any partisan matters having caused tensions to be set aside.
Iranians are united in wanting the best for their country, but they remain bitterly divided in how this should happen.